Welcome to Discovery Weekly, the bonus show from the podcast Discovery Show for all the extra stuff we discovered throughout the week. I'm Zach.
I'm Kirk.
And I'm Matt.
Guys, did you have Tamagotchis?
I did.
Of course.
I feel like everyone had Tamagotchis, and I think we were all kids at the perfect amount of time where we got to experience life and death through a Tamagotchi. And this was a huge thing. So the first one came out in 96. They have sold since then 82 million Tamagotchis. I think they've been selling them consistently. Like it kind of died as a fad over here, but between 2010 and 2017, they sold another 6 million Tamagotchis. So it's not like fully dead. And I tell you this because now it's about to come back. Tamagotchi has just made a smartwatch. So there is the new generation of Tamagotchi is coming your way. So it's the 25th anniversary of it. And it's going to be essentially, it looks like a very pink or green large Fitbit mixed with a Tamagotchi. And you can lock in and get one of these things. It has an LCD touchscreen. It has 30 hours of battery life before needing to be recharged.
You can make phone calls on it. You can
Does it
send
still
I
texts.
haven't heard anything about that.
Does it still look like crap?
You mean the actual like interface of the little guy?
Bit, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it still isn't. It's not like you're playing on an iPod or anything, or an iPad or a iPhone or any of those great technologies.
That's what I was wondering. When you said there was 30 hours of battery life, usually that means it's like black and white, like Kindle Paperwhite is what you're going to be using.
No, it's stepped up from what we are used to, where it literally was like someone drew a line with a pencil and that was it. Yeah,
I don't know.
But yeah, it's very soon. So right now, between June 17th and July 2nd, the first people are going to be getting their new Tamagotchi watches. So you entered for a lottery for these, and they would choose who the winners were late this month. And then for everyone else, it goes on sale November 23rd, but it is $70. So something to keep in mind if you want to save up for your Tamagotchi, you can do that. You can also purchase additional smart cards for $10.
Are they just called Tamagotchis? Because they really missed out on calling them Tamagotchis.
I don't know if I think it is a Japanese company, so they would have a hard time being figuring
Japan,
out
you're
puns.
dropping the ball, not learning watch.
I didn't know it was
English.
Bandai that made it. Those are the Power Ranger people.
Yeah, it looks like they're calling it Tamagotchi Smart.
Also, they have an ad on this thing that you said. Did you watch the video?
No.
It's just a bunch of pretty Japanese girls jumping out of an egg with those on the wrist. There's nothing about the watch.
No, but
I wanted
really
to see the watch in action.
The question is, do you want to buy it more or less now?
No, I want to buy it less. I was wanting to see what it was because it seems like something my daughter would be into because she's into like that whole kawaii thing, the cute little things. And
why?
There's a place for that.
Kirk is definitely enough into anime to know what kawaii is. But yeah,
kawaii just means like super cute. Like Pikachu is kawaii. Like
Hello Kitty.
Hello Kitty. Like those things that you see them and you're like, oh, that's cute. It's
Matt Kawaii Walker over here.
Yeah,
I see.
Exactly. You.
Okay. No, I get it now.
He does look exactly like
now
Pikachu.
I understand.
But yeah, I just wanted to let everybody know you can go back in time to when you were a child and had a little Tamagotchi that you would at some point forget about and then kill and then feel strange emotions.
I have filled that hole in my soul with real children. I don't need need a
it's a dangerous game. If you forget to feed your children, it's a different problem.
As a father, it's not a matter of feeding your children. It's giving them something they'll eat. It's most of the time. Because I don't like that, Daddy. Well, you'll get hungry enough, you'll eat it eventually.
Did Furbies die? I'm sorry.
Like in general?
No, like did they No, like if you didn't take care of them, did they die?
I don't think so. I think they
Okay.
just talked
think
a lot and were
I think
demonic.
they ate the souls that were like trapped in the universe, and then they
Yeah.
would reanimate.
Well, that's how the souls get out of purgatory.
Yeah, no, I
Yes.
think it was Furbies. We
Okay.
did have a haunted Furby at one point, and
Yeah,
it was
me too.
it was a thing between me and my brothers because my youngest brother got a Furby, and he really wanted it. And to be fair, it was the time when that was like a thing. Furbies were a thing.
Oh yeah,
But he really wanted it, and so he got it. And we were really rough on all of our toys, and so
Yeah.
it was immediately destroyed, essentially. But even without a battery pack, the Furby would still like talk. And so it was making noises all the time. And eventually, I think we had to rip out like all of the internals of it. Like we ripped out like whatever the speaker was that was making the noises. We ripped out everything, but we kept the abandoned carcass of the Furby.
Oh,
And for a really long time as adults, like through college and everything, we would the game was you would hide the Furby somewhere in the other person's house. And so like you would just find it at some point, and then once you had it, then you got to pick one of us to like go hide it in our house. But
It's like The Ring.
no, and it is
Furby
it's very like The Ring, because the last person I had was my youngest brother, and we
He's
hid it
dead
at his
now.
house. No, we hid it at his house, but we have never seen the Furby since. And he swears that he doesn't like have it, but I'm waiting for this to be a huge long con, like a 5-year play where he's going to act like he doesn't have it, and then one day it's just going to reappear.
Ours
Oh,
would
man.
just randomly be like, because it would like, the batteries died for a long time, and then it would just randomly, you'd hear like, wow, that weird noise that they made. They were like Hank Hill. Wow. And it would be like, what? Like, I don't know what that means. Anyway.
Yeah, they were deeply unsettling. I don't think there was a 2012 revival of Furbies apparently, but I don't think they are being currently manufactured.
Give us.
I don't know. I think I still see them at the store.
I mean,
like
they
at
probably
Walmart
made
and
enough
stuff.
in the 90s to still have them in the store.
Listen, all I'm
Maybe. I don't
saying
know.
is give us a Furby watch. That's what I want.
So what? It would just be a watch that haunts you instead of like a Furby?
It's just a watch with a Furby glued to it.
It's like an idiot sundial.
Yeah.
Idiot sundial. Well, we just got done recording our podcast Discovery Show episode where we talked about the Forest Fenn Treasure. And we didn't get enough time to talk about who actually found the treasure. Neither did the podcast that we listened to address it on the show that we listened to. But I found an article, and what I love is that it's actually written by Daniel Barbarisi, who is the one that wrote that book, Chasing the Thrill, that the podcast we were listening to was referencing the whole time. So this is written by him, and he found and interviewed the person that found the treasure because it was found just recently. So here's part of the interview and also a lot of the story. This is a long article. I'm not going to quote all of it or talk about all of it because there's a lot. But what I thought was fascinating is, first of all, people immediately thought it was fake, that it was found. Even though the guy had pictures, he literally went because Forrest Fenn was still alive when he found it. He's dead now, but he was still alive at the time.
Wait, he died right after he found it?
He died right after the guy found, not right after, but not that long after.
The guy is like, he will have a legendary persona. I swear he was like
trying to stay alive, waiting for someone to find the stinking treasure chest.
He will stick in history and like legend for a really long time.
But people were immediately, there was lawsuits against Forrest. There was lawsuits against, there was a lawsuit that actually got to court. Like it didn't just get dismissed like it should have, that when Forrest died, if someone had found the treasure chest, this lady was suing them because obviously they had hacked into her phone, got texts and stuff that had given them clues as to where the treasure was. and it actually went to court. That's how Daniel was able to get the guy's name, because the guy came out as anonymous and he was not going to give his name, but it was going to end up being in court documents. So the guy eventually told Daniel what his name was. But here's the fascinating story about the actual young guy that found the treasure. So a decade ago, Fenn had his treasure chest containing gold and other valuables estimated to be worth a little over $1 million somewhere in the Rocky Mountains. Not long after, he published a memoir called The Thrill of the Chase, which included a mysterious 24-line poem that, if solved, would lead searchers to the treasure. Fenn had suggested that the loot was secreted away at the place where he had envisioned laying down to die, back when he'd been believed to have was going to die of cancer in 1988. Since the hunt began in 2010, many thousands of searchers had gone out in pursuit, and at least 5 of them losing their lives in the process, and the chase became an international story. So many people had invested and sacrificed so much in pursuit of Fenn's treasure that it was possible the finder would face threats, be they legal or physical, from people who resented them or wished them ill. And that was exactly what was beginning to play out. This past June, Fenn announced that the treasure had been found by a man from back east, that's all he said, who wanted to remain anonymous. Once we were in contact, well, this is Daniel talking in first person. So despite exchanging dozens of emails with the finder and discussing the details of the chest and what the locating it meant to him, he never would tell me his name, no matter how hard I pressed him. But he did find out it was a 32-year-old Michigan native and medical student. And eventually he did give his name, like I said, from the context of the lawsuit. So he's like, well, everyone's going to know my name anyway. And his name was Jack Stoof. So it's this 32-year-old kid, basically. Well, that's our age, but I'm
just
still
a baby boy.
Just a baby boy.
We're young.
We're still young.
Am I crying? Sorry.
But it's crazy because this guy, God dang it, he learned about it on Twitter. He learned about the treasure chest on Twitter in 2018, and he couldn't believe it had escaped his notice for 8 whole years. He was instantly hooked. Here's a quote. He says, "I've probably thought about it for at least a couple hours a day, every single day since I learned about it." He's like, and he emphasizes, no, like every day. They talk about his college and stuff like that, and he was not enjoying medical school. He was going through it, but it was just kind of going through the motions, and he really wasn't into it. He did end up finishing, but he said eventually, like, that was kind of what he threw his mind into, like what he threw his like obsession, his side project was this, because he was soon reading hunter blogs to learn the basics, and he bought Fenn's memoir, The Thrill of the Chase, before diving into as much primary source material as he could find. His method was to devour every Fenn interview, doing anything he could to hear and absorb his words directly in an effort to better understand the man's personality and motivation. It's crazy how deep it got. He said, "I think I got a little embarrassed by how obsessed I was with it. If I didn't find it, I would look like kind of an idiot. And maybe I didn't want to admit to myself what a hold that it had on me," because it says he didn't want to tell any of his family or friends that he was really into this. And can you imagine some of these people that had devoted much longer than him, because he found out about it 8 years after it was hidden.
Yeah, no,
there's some people that were looking for it the whole time.
Maybe all it took was not being an insane person.
After learning more about it, I think that could be true. That right there. He
it
maybe
could have helped.
Does it say anything about the golden Captain America statue?
It does not. He did not give any offerings to the golden Captain America statue. So
I knew that was BS.
That wasn't actually helping people in their pursuit of the chest.
They acted convinced about it, though.
Okay, if you had to offer something up to the golden Captain America statue, what would you offer?
I don't know, Thor's hammer. Like I would have a really hard time taking that thing seriously. They painted a Captain America statue. Like, I mean, as far as like, if you're going to make some weird idol, like at least like commit a little bit, have somebody like sculpt something new. Don't just take a Marvel character. They're
I
lucky.
love how I've seen Forrest Fenn. He's just a nice little old man. He doesn't look like Captain America. It's not like this guy.
It's all about the imagination.
Wow. Yeah. But he retrieved the chest on Saturday, June 6th, 2020. Dude, he only found this chest in 2020 in June. And it was found in Wyoming. He didn't give the exact location. He says he's not going to. That is the one thing he has been able to keep secret.
Why though?
He has a few reasons, and we'll get to it in a second.
Okay.
Says and then he began the long drive down to Santa Fe to deliver to Fenn that same day. That evening, news of the find was already beginning to come out, as Fenn believed it must. He said, Fenn said, we should let searchers know as soon as we have it. Stoof said Fenn told him. But controversy quickly swirled, as many hunters, unsatisfied with the lack of disclosure, decided this meant that something nefarious was afoot, that Fenn had never really hidden the treasure, or that he had unilaterally ended the hunt without a real finder. The backlash took Fenn by surprise, according to those around him. To address it, several weeks after the find, he released photos of the chest and of him going through it with Stoof after Stoof had delivered it to Santa Fe, which provided enough confirmation for some. And they talk about the lawsuit a little bit.
I would love to hear, like, what exactly are you suing? This is all Narnia stuff. He hid a treasure in the mountains. Like, who were you mad at? Are you mad because I think they're mad because they didn't find the treasure?
It's exactly what they're mad at. But it's like, what I don't understand these people that are so. I mean, I get why they're upset because they didn't find it. I get that. That's a common.
Some 1 year jabroni went and found the treasure.
I've played sports. I know that it sucks when you lose and you worked really hard to try to win. But
look at Mr. Bragg over here playing sports.
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about losing at sports here.
I lost at sports too. Okay, Kurt.
I've bombed doing stand up. It sucks.
Yeah, every time.
But he says how when he found the treasure chest, it was not the Hollywood ending like you would envision. It was more like he was very happy that he survived something and he was very fortunate to have come out alive. He explained that in 2018, he had figured out the location where the longtime Santa Fe art dealer and former fighter pilot wished to die. And then he spent a combined 25 days over the next 2 years searching the general area until he finally located the treasure. He said that to find the solution, he'd carefully listen to things Fenn had said in interviews, finding very few crucial crumbs. And one of the things that he said in the article was that he says, I know it's going to sound a little bit bad and people are going to get upset about it, but I had just gotten out of college and just gotten done with like very intense English classes. And this dude's poems, I was able to decipher them because of knowing the exact way that poems are supposed to be written. And it helped him a lot to be able to figure things out.
And people say art doesn't pay.
Yeah.
They
won't say it anymore.
Yeah, no more.
And one of the things it says in here, it says, people have died looking for the chest. Others have gone bankrupt. Many more have spent countless hours in search of it, and they want some degree of resolution. In our various excursions out west, my search partner and I both found ourselves a little too obsessed at points, and it took its toll. There are real human costs to this search, and knowing the final location could offer the desired sense of closure many are now seeking. Stoof says he's sympathetic to those feelings. This is the most difficult question to answer because I know there's so many people who just want to know. They worked on this for a long time, and they just want to be handed the answer. I totally understand that. But doing that, I think, is a death sentence to this special place. Because he talks about how where it's at is not a good place for like a shrine that people would probably do in like this trek. He's like, it's not a good place for people to go visit. Like it's not. And he also, he does have like, again, there is a little bit of a buy-in to the woo-woo-ness of the cult, where he's like, no, this is a sacred place that Fenn would never want disturbed. You know, there is that too, even from this guy.
That's funny.
Another thing I found fascinating, the guy hasn't sold the chest yet. He says, so far, ownership of the chest has not made Stoof a rich man. He has not sold it yet, has not even had it appraised. But the expected windfall has allowed him to quit worrying about repaying his student loans for medical school. With this in mind, he's decided to leave the profession, so he's already not become a doctor.
Already
like,
quitting being a doctor.
Yeah, he's like,
but no, I'm sorry, I found a treasure chest. Goodbye.
Exactly. But it sounds like he sounded like he went through all that work and didn't even actually want to be a doctor. He says, I was kind of in it, this sunk cost fallacy dead end with that, where I didn't want to quit because I didn't know what else to do. He says, I didn't know how to pay off my loans if I didn't become a doctor. So he felt like he had to become a doctor. So he said, this chest was kind of my lifeline. Now I don't have to be a doctor.
I can just be a treasure guy.
No, it literally says, I think he wants to do something similar to that. No, I think it's something to do with cryptocurrency or something like that. It was the same thing.
My God. Oh. All right.
Well, that's wild. I mean, I guess I get he honestly, I wouldn't tell people just to troll him more. They were going to try and sue me and stuff. I'll be like, I'll never tell you where I found it. You guys can all go suck it. Get out of here.
I can't believe that there was a woman trying to sue him saying, if you found it, obviously you cheated and you got my cell phone records and found it because of me.
Oh, which makes okay. Well, I wonder if at some point they're going to make him say where he found it to like disprove that stupid lawsuit.
I don't know.
He's like, your dumb text messages were wrong.
But here's the thing. If that's how he found it, why didn't she find it? Like, that's also what I don't get about a lot of these things. It's like, okay, you lost. Boo-hoo. It's a treasure chest. It's a treasure hunt. There's more than one people looking for it. Like, one person's going to find it, or maybe a small group of people are going to find it. But get over it, you know?
They can't.
Get over it.
They can't.
They just
It's really
can't.
cool. I really love the story, though. The story that this guy did it. And to find out that it did exist. There was a treasure chest. Like,
supposedly, according to this idiot.
It's just to get you off the trail, my friend.
All right, y'all want to figure out a way to sue him? Because he's got money now.
No.
So we can find a way to sue him.
Sure don't. I don't even know what I'd sue him for. But like, for finding the treasure, I don't know. Just send it up the line. Figure out how to get it.
Well, I would sue him for the same thing, but I would all I'd want is one treasure chest. No damages, just one treasure chest.
Give me the treasure, man. Just give it to me.
Sneak that into the jury. They're like, well, that seems reasonable. It's not money. Speaking of people that need to get the heck out of there, how was that one? Was that one good?
Who was speaking about that?
Well, let's. So, like, here we are in court, you know, and these guys are like, "Let's get out of here." And so, one person's thinking they should leave.
I get it.
Yeah, now we're there. There we go. Now we said it.
So, the second season of a great show on Netflix is my discovery this week, because it truly embodies the type of humor that I love. When the first season came out, I've talked with a bunch of my friends about this, and it's like, when you see comedy that you really touches your sensibilities, you just become like, oh, thank God I'm not the only human that likes this. Like, it's such a relief every time, and this is no different. So the second season came out of I Think You Should Leave, a show on Netflix that is written and performed by Tim Robinson. Tim Robinson wrote at SNL and had a show called The Detroiters that was a short-lived show on Comedy Central. And the new season is great. I've already watched all of it. I watched it the night it came out, which I guess was July or no, it says April. Oh, no. Sorry. It was July 6th. It's great season. And to kind of commemorate it, I have a little GQ interview with Tim Robinson that was...
How would you describe the show? I've never watched it.
God.
Or the humor in general, I guess.
Okay. So it's very... hard to explain. They're really... It sounds dumb because this is almost a cliche at this point, but it's very smart about being very dumb. And vice versa. It's very dumb about being very smart. It's and the interview will clear some of that up.
Okay.
But basically the idea of I Think You Should Leave is characters that are in circumstances where they could just dip out and be like, whoa. But it's all about doubling down on your idiocy and like these humiliating and embarrassing moments.
Is it like I don't have any reference for the show?
Yeah, it's sketches. From what I understand, the first season, a lot of them were actually from his time at SNL, and they just got pulled because they were not really mainstream sensibilities. But since then, it's just like been super lauded, and it's just all the praise to this show. But in this interview, the guy interviewing Tim Robinson says he's wearing this gold watch, and he's like, "You think this gold watch is too much, or whatever?" And he goes through this whole thing about how he's like, "You know what? I should be allowed to wear that watch." Just like that guy in that sketch should be allowed to wear that hat. And if you've seen it, you know what that means. But it's basically these weird, embarrassing moments that you come to. He says, we find ourselves fascinated with people digging themselves in holes to save face on something small that ended up making themselves look stupider. The idea of tripping, and then your first instinct is to look back and be like, what the fuck's wrong with this floor?
I've been there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it's like, yeah, why would what? Like there's a sketch that involves and what he calls piss dots on your pants when you
gotcha.
You guys know. Us guys know.
What are you talking about?
It's like when you don't.
I'm kidding. I know what you're talking about.
Okay. All right. Because I'd explain it because I know them intimately. No. But basically, no. But basically, the show is all about that, and it has Bob Odenkirk's in this season, and Tim Heidecker's back in it, and a bunch of the same faces. I will say this season seems to have more of an arc than the first season, so it's kind of fun to watch. It's kind of about that idea of people doubling down on their idiocy and like this dumb, like where they don't have to. This season seems to more be like a more existential take on that, where it's like there's this whole skit about how this baby doesn't want to be held by him, and he basically says like, oh, it's okay, it's just the baby knows that I used to be a huge piece of shit. And it's like everyone's like, no, what? And it's just and it goes from there. But it's such a fun time. But it really does have this existential moment, especially at the end of almost each episode. But in this article, also, I just want to point this out because it's so great, and I always feel like it's important to point this out. He didn't think it was going to be great and still is worried that it's not good. Anyway, I love pointing that stuff out. But if you haven't seen it yet, oh my God, it's phenomenal and really, really easy to binge watch. The episodes are like 15 minutes long, but it's, my God, love these things.
Yeah, I'm going to have to check that out.
Yeah, you guys.
I feel like, did we watch one of these together at some point?
I think I forced you to. The first episode of the first season with the gift receipt. Did I make you watch
gift receipt? Yep, we watched the gift receipt one. Yes, I have seen this. I thought that like premise was because it gets worse and worse the whole time.
Yeah. Basically, that one for everybody listening. The premise is super simple, but again, it snowballs. But a guy is getting gifts for his birthday, and everyone presents theirs, and they're like, it's a wreath, and it's like, well, if you don't like it, the gift receipt's in the bag. And then one of the guys is like, yeah, if you don't like it, the gift receipt's in there, but you like it, right? And it's like, yeah, I like it. And he's like, well, then give me the gift receipt.
No.
And it just goes from there. It's so great. It really goes. What I love about it
goes crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Question is like one episode, one skit, or is it multiple skits in an episode?
No, it's about 5, 6, 7 skits in one episode. Yeah.
So they're fairly short then, because if it's a 15-minute episode. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. They're quick, and they're only about 7 or 8 episodes in a season, but they hit hard, and they're very really unexpected. Funny. They're so unexpected, and that's what I love about it. Because I'm tired of getting ahead of the comedy, where I'm like, okay, yeah, that's good. But I go, oh, that's smart. And I don't enjoy it. But this one literally had me laughing.
That's nice and smart.
Yes. Anyway, that's my discovery.
Well, that's all our discoveries for this week. Thanks so much for listening, and go to bed.
Night-night.
Sleep well. You cut that.
Nailed it.
Did we?
Yep.
I don't know if we stuck the landing on that one.
No, we definitely did. No, I feel like not sticking the landing is the best way to do it.
This was a podcast from the Podfix Network. You can check out more shows like it at podfixnetwork.com.